Welcome back to Namaste Node.js Season 3, and in this video we are going to talk a little bit about security of our application. Okay, now let me tell you first of all the mistake that we have been doing so far in Namaste Node.js series, and then I will tell you the solution to that mistake, okay, so that we can avoid doing that mistake. Okay, so let me just tell you one important mistake that we did, and a lot of my students also did the same mistake, was that we have this database.js file, right? In this database.js file, we have this Mongo connection string. And what we were doing was we were pushing all of our code onto GitHub, right? We were pushing all of our code onto GitHub. And once the code is pushed on GitHub, we have accidentally also pushed, not accidentally, I was doing it intentionally, but a lot of my students have done it unintentionally. And they have uploaded their whole code over there. And if I go to the config file, if I go to the database file, anybody on the internet can see my database string. And anybody who has access to this string, right, who has access to that string can access my database. This is a very bad way. This is not a good solution, right? Not a good way of putting the strings on GitHub. We should not put any secret keys onto our GitHub. That is the first thing. And I am very smart. So what I did was, after I have pushed my code to GitHub, I went to MongoDB and changed the password. Okay. So nobody can use this password and connect to my database, right? This password will not be working now. I was smart, I changed it, but a lot of my students, they kept the password same. And they were, Namaste Node.js students, they were hacking each other's database, okay? Not hacking exactly, that is known as spamming or a scam kind of a thing, right? They were going to each other's GitHub profiles and they were, checking their profiles and their database string was over here, right? So I did not taught them how to secure it. So they were just pushing it onto GitHub and everybody was logging into somebody else's database and they were messing things up. Okay, so don't do that. That's a very bad way of fooling people. What I'll suggest you is that let me tell you the solution to this problem. The first thing that we know is we don't have to put this string onto GitHub. First thing, right? So that is why we use a package which is known as .env. Okay, there is a npm package .env npm. If I will go to .env, this is the npm package that we are going to use. Now let me tell you that what this package do, why should we use it? You understood why we use it, right? To secure our secret keys and strings. And not just this MongoDB string. There are a lot more secret things that we need to keep and that we need to maintain, that we don't have to push to GitHub. Okay? One such thing is, if you go to Auth.js, one such thing is your JWT token secret, right? We are verifying our JWT secret from here. So I don't want my secret to be visible to anyone, right? Do you want this? This is a secret thing. You should not be using this like this, right? You should not be pushing this to GitHub. Similarly, there can be a lot of other secret keys. Maybe suppose if you are using Amazon SES, so it might have a secret key. Suppose if you are using some other third-party services, they will also have some secret key. If you are using a payment gateway, they will also have their secret key. So what I'm trying to say is, you have to make sure your secrets are safe. These keys are safe. So that is why we use this .env package. Now, how do we use this .env packages? First of all, we will create a .env file on the root of our folder. So there is a .env file. In that .env file, we will keep all our secret things. That's a very secret file within our repository. In our repository, we'll create, on the top level, I will create a new file and we'll name it as .env. Okay, .env. Now this .env will contain all the secret things. The first thing is database.js, right? This string, right? How do you keep? So in .env file, it's not a JavaScript file, okay? So you don't have to make the variables or something. It's like a constant file, but you don't have to make it in JavaScript way, okay? How you do it, let me just show you. You basically write like this, db underscore secret, okay? Secret or db connection string. DB connection secret, whatever you want to give name, right? That name you can give, write an equal to, paste this, right? This is how you create a env variable, environment variable. This is how you create a environment variable. No const over here, no let over here, nothing. This is the format that you have to follow. One more thing is you don't even need these quotes. Okay, so if you remove these quotes, still it is a valid env file. But for the sake of simplicity and readability, I keep quotes. That makes it a little bit more readable. That's it. So that's how you can keep your key. You can keep as many keys as you want. Some people also love to keep port over here, right? They keep their port number, whatever the port number they want to run their application on. Suppose if you want to run your application on 7777, you can keep 7777 over here, and you can use these secrets wherever you need in your project. Okay. You can also keep, let's also keep JWT token here, JWT secret, sorry, right? So this is our JWT secret key in our .env file. Okay, JWT underscore secret. Okay, JWT secret. This is how you keep your JWT secret. Okay, and similarly, you can check the format of .env file. If you'll go to documentation, they give you a format. You can use it like this also. Suppose if you want to write comments, you can use hashes. So read this documentation, make a habit to read a documentation. This will give you a lot more things that you can, do with your, env files. Okay. So for now, let me tell you, suppose if you want to write some comments, you can use hash over here and you can write comments, right? These will be treated as secret keys. Okay. So this is a comment. Okay. You can write comments like this. So this is what I'm saying. So basically, if you will read the documentation, you will understand what all things you can use, right? See, this is a comment. There are a lot more things, right? How you can parse and lot of other commands, managing multiple environments and all that stuff, right? You will get to know. Now, what I am trying to say is, now once you have made this file, now is my app secure now? Is it safe to push the code? So first of all, let us use also, right? We have not used this. Our .js still contains my key. So how do you use this? You basically write process.env.jwt underscore secret. Okay. Secret. Make sure this name matches exactly to this. Okay. Otherwise, it will be a big problem. Okay. So your auth.js will contain this. Now, what this .env package will do is, this package will basically take all these variables and it will attach all these variables to an bigger object, right? A global object which is known as process.env. Okay. And anywhere in your code, wherever you need this JWT secret, you can just use process.env.variable name. This time it is JWT secret. For MongoDB string, right? Let me also replace this with, right? Let me replace this string with process.env.db connection secret, right? Anywhere in the code you want to use now these variables, you can use it safely, right? Similarly, you can do for port also, process.env.port. Okay, do it. Let's do it in app.js. Where is our port? Here, right? So process.env.port. Okay, so similarly, now anywhere I can get access throughout my application, you can keep as many variables as you want to, and everything will be taken care by .env package. Okay, how to use this now, right? Will it work? It will not work right now. It will work. It will basically work once we install this package and import this package. Okay, so how do you install this package? Go read the documentation, you will understand. It's very easy. Npm install .env. That's how it works, right? You can just say npm install or npm i.env. It's one and the same thing. Write it like this, and your .env package is installed inside your package.json. You will find .env over here, 16.4.7. I'm using 16.4.7, the latest version, whatever is running. Now what I will do, one more thing you will have to do is to configure .env. you have to require .env and call a method .config on it. And this is what you will do in your starting of your application. What is the root level of your application? This app.js. Just like you did constant cors, just like you write any other middleware, this is also kind of like a middleware kind of a thing. Not exactly a middleware, but it basically starts your .env config process, right? Basically it is the code that you need to run. So what you have to do just below, right, on the starting of your application, before even writing any code, I can just do this, right? I can just require my .env and run the .config method on top of it. Okay, so this is what I can do. Now everything should work fine. My process.env variable should get the exact value of their secret and all those other things, right? So let me just run the code and check if everything is working fine or not. And let me also maybe just console.log and see whether my variables are being set properly or not. Okay, so if I will go over here, I will console.log db connection string. Let me save my file. Everything is saved. Let me run the application. npm run dev. Okay, if I run this dev, it says undefined. Okay, database cannot be connected and it says undefined. Why it says undefined? Is it not working properly? Okay, it should have worked properly. Let me just see why it is saying undefined. Okay, maybe because I am writing it on the top. Let me just save this and let me just rerun my application. Let me rerun my application. npm run dev. Database cannot be connected. Okay, before this, sorry, my bad. See this. Now this works. Why it was not working on top? It was because, these files are loaded as soon as you require. So over here, you were requiring this database.js file, right? So this code hasn't run yet. That is why. Okay, so if you will put this code on the top, on the first line, it will still work. But what I am saying is, this place is fine to write this code. Okay, so this is completely fine. So what I am saying is, see, our db string is correct. Coming over here, database cannot be connected. The reason is because I have changed the password, right? Because the password that we are using right now over here, this is not the exact password. I'll have to change the password. So let me just change the password and you will see the database getting connected. Okay, so let me sign into my MongoDB console. Okay, let me log into my MongoDB console. Cool. So I'm logged into my MongoDB console over here. And let me just go to database access. Let me just change the password. Let me just edit the password, auto-generate a secure password, copy it, and update the user. Cool. So now we are deploying your change. Current tax, it is updating the user roles, configuring. It will take few seconds and the database password will be changed. Okay. Current action, configuring MongoDB. Okay. So it is configuring. Meanwhile, let us just replace the password in our .env file now. Okay. Okay. We have changed this new password and okay, cool. I think the password has been updated. Let me just close it and let me just run our project once again. If I run my project, database is connection established. Server running successfully on port 7777. Okay. And let me just go to my dev tinder and let me start my front-end project also. Okay, I've started my front-end project. Let me go and see if everything is working fine. Let us also test our JWT token, right? If we are able to log in successfully, then our JWT token should be working fine, isn't it? Let me just, I don't want to use it, akshay@gmail.com and the password is akshay@123. Login. Okay, something went wrong. Is my API is not working correctly? Let me just check. network tab. If I click on login, it called an API. Did it call an API? It says 4 not 4. 4 not 4. Oh my god. I was not expecting that. Let me go back. Okay. Is it because of our API? Oh, it's calling 5173. Okay. So my bad. The backend URL over here. This is what the problem is. I changed in my last episode. I changed the backend URL, right? It was in constant. Where is it? Where is the front end code? Here it is, the front end code. In your constant, I changed it, right? Yes, in the constant, I was saying this was localhost, right? So it is calling the wrong. This URL should be your 7777 because our, this is basically, this should be used in production. And in my local dev, right? In my dev, this should be used, right? Export constant base underscore URL is basically your local host. Okay, localhost 7777, right? And just a minute, your http localhost 7777. That's all we need to do. Okay, so this is in production, this is in dev. Okay, so I have this running on my dev. Let me just close this, run again. The front end project is up and running. If I try to close, right, if I try to use this password, right, if I click on login, it gives me error. Why it still gives me error is because 204. No, view login cannot post / login. Okay, I think you don't have to put a slash over here. My bad. No trailing slash. Small things can make big mistakes, right? If I click on login, cool, this works. Okay, so this works now. The application smoothly works over here. But you know what? This is not exactly the best way of doing it, right? Basically, you can also make it dynamic, right? You can just say location.host name, right? Suppose if it is localhost is equal to localhost. So basically, see, what I am trying to say is if my location.host name is localhost, if it is localhost, then use this URL. Otherwise, you can use your /API. Okay, so when we will be running on production, we will be keeping this, right? If the base name is localhost, so it will take this. Okay, I think this should work. See, one more thing I want to tell you, in my React project, in my front end project, I cannot use process.env. Why I cannot use process.env? Because it is configured on server. And the code that I have right now will run on a browser. My browser does not know what is process. My browser does not know env. So that is why we can write a JavaScript code to check localhost and I can make things dynamic. This is how you can do in your front-end project. And in backend, you can set the env variable where you can keep the secret. Okay, so now what we will do is, let me just see if things are working fine. If I refresh the page, it is still working fine. Did I save the file? Yes, if I save this file once again, go back, everything works smoothly. Cool. So what we are doing is, front end we have made this change, back end we have made the change, everything is working fine, hope. And now let me tell you the most important step. Is it fine? Everything is working fine. Can I now push my code to GitHub safely? The answer is no, not yet, my dear friends, because see, everything, all our secret are kept in our .env file. So what we need to do is, as a last step, I need to just go to my gitignore file and just write .env over here. So now Git will stop focusing on our env file. It will ignore that .env file, and all these variables and keys will just be in my system. It will not be pushed to GitHub if I will push this code. right? If I will go and see the changes, let me just go over here. If I will see git status, if I will do git status, so you will see that, okay, there are changes in these 6 files, but there is no .env. Suppose if I remove .env from here, right, from my git ignore file, if I do git status now, it will show me the changes in .env file. It will show me the changes in .env file, right? See this will show me the changes in .env file, and if I will push these changes, .env file will also get pushed. So I don't want to accidentally push my .env file. So what I can do now is I can just do git ignore. Now you will see git status. It will not show you your env file, and I can just safely make a commit, right? You can just safely make a commit over here. Git commit -am, right? And I can just say added .env file. Okay, added .env file. Okay, if I will do, it has added all these files, it has made a commit, and I can just do git push now, right? If I will git push, so it will push my changes to origin. And if I will go to my GitHub repository now, if I refresh the page, I will just see a process.env.db connection string over here. I will not see my secret key, and here also you will not find my .env file. My .env file is now on my local system. That's all, right? And similarly in my front end code also, let me just push this code, made base URL dynamic, okay? Dynamic. Let me just push this code, and let me just show it to you. Commit sync changes. This is doing the same thing. It is doing commit and it is just pushing the code. Okay, so I pushed both the repositories over here, right? Now what I will do, listen to me very carefully. This .env file is with me on my local, and it is working over here. Now, one thing that we have to remember always is, when we are trying to deploy our application onto production, right? When we are deploying our application onto production, we have to create a .env file manually on that place, right? We were doing manual deployments, right? We will create a .env file manually over here, and that env file will contain our exact keys, right? That will be there in your server. Shall we do it? Let me just show you how to deploy the code now, okay? So first of all, let me go to my terminal over here, right? Or let me go to iterm2, right? This is what I use. Dismiss tip. I don't want any tip. Oh my God. Okay. Dismiss tip. Cool. So let me log into my server. First of all, I will go to my downloads folder, and now I will go and do SSH. Okay. SSH. I will do devtindersecret.pem, and I will SSH to the machine. I'm logged into my machine now. Over here, I have my, let's first of all deploy the front end code. You know how to deploy the front end code, right? Devtinder web. Okay. How do you deploy the front end code? First of all, take a git pull so that, oh my God. First of all, take a git pull so that I get the latest code. Let me show you how fast you can do deployment. And now you can just do a npm run build, right? So it will build your code, it will make a build, it will make your dist file, right? And then you will have to basically do a SCP, okay? You have to do a SCP, isn't it? Cool. So I think, cool. It is built in 5.55 seconds. Now let us do SCP. Okay. It says that, okay, sudo SCP-r dist star, and I will copy everything to var www.html. If I hit enter over here, it has copied the code. Now front end is gone live, right? The front end code is already deployed. Now I will deploy my backend code. Okay. Let me go to cd /devtinder. I go to my backend project. Now I will do npm. What will I do? Basically, I will do npm run build. No, npm. Sorry, I will have to deploy it. First of all, I'll have to do a git pull to fetch the latest code. Okay. So I've got my latest code. Now I will start my PM2 process once again. If I will do PM2 list, so my previous process would have been running, right? So the previous process is already running online. So I will do PM2 stop, and then the process name, right? Stop dev Tinder backend. So it will stop my project, and then I will do a start once again. I can restart my project. Now I can again start the process. How can do PM2? I will do, let me just show you PM2 start, right? I will start the application dev Tinder backend hyphen start. Okay. So if I will start it, it started my dev Tinder backend once again. Okay. You can also apply the restart command, because see what it did. It stopped the previous process. It started a new process. So basically, ideally you need to restart it, right? You can find the PM2 restart command also. Just restart the process. Otherwise, you can stop the first one and start the before one also, right? And you can basically do a PM2 delete also. If you want to delete the first one, you can do PM2 delete 0. So it will delete the first one, right? And the first one will be, the 01 will be deleted. First one will be here. So whenever you are deploying it again, you can just restart it instead of stopping and starting once again. You can just restart the command, right? So what I am doing is, now everything has been deployed. Let's go to our namastedev.in, right? Everything was deployed on namastedev.in. Let me just show you. If I will go to namastedev.in, not namastedev.in, sorry, that's a my bad, right? I'm going to namastedev.in, sorry, devtinder.in. If I will go to devtinder.in, over here the things does not work. Why? Because our environment variables are not yet set, right? If I will go to my network tab, if I refresh the page, you will see that, okay, is the code not working? Let me refresh the page. Yup, so it has loaded. Now it says dev Tinder bad gateway, because our application isn't working. It says 502. The major reason for 502, how will you figure out? Let's check the PM2 logs. Okay. If I will do PM2 logs, okay, it will say, see, it is throwing some error. Cannot find module.env, cannot find module.env. See, this is how you debug. You know, right? Why it is throwing this error? Cannot find module.env. You know this error, right? So let me just stop the process first of all, PM2 list, right? Let me just fix it. We forgot to do npm install. My bad, I have to tell you, right? First of all, let me just do PM2 delete Z1, right? PM2 delete 1, okay? So I've deleted all the PM2, right? What I will do now is, I will just go and I will do a npm install, right? It's important to do npm install because our .env package was there, but we did not have it. Now, now the error will be very different. Let me first of all start the PM2 process, then I will show you, okay? PM2 start, okay? So now my backend project has been started. Now things will be working, but the error will be very different now. See this. If I will run this, it will still not work. It will still throw 502. If I will do PM2 log now, see this, PM2 log. Okay, so it will say database cannot be connected. Remember why? And it is giving you undefined. This is what I wanted to show you. That the .env file was here in my, in my local system, but the .env file is not there because it was not on GitHub. So what we'll have to do is, we have to manually basically create the .env file. How you can create the .env file is, you can just do sudo nano and you can do .env, right? Sudo nano.env in dev Tinder. It created a new file. Now I will just copy paste all this env code over here in my folder. And then what I will do, I will just save my file. Okay, my file is saved. My env file is there. Now I can just do PM2, right? Where is my PM2? PM2 list, right? So now we can just do PM2 restart and 0. So 0 is the process name. If I hit enter, right? So it restarted my process. Okay, my restarted the process. So now if I will go back to our, over here, see, now if you will refresh the page, did it log in? No, it's not logging in. 404 not found. Why? Sorry, my bad. Let's just go to devtinder.in/login. Yes. Now you will see that, okay, it failed by 401, right? Because of the username password now it's not valid. But now if I go and run like this, you will see if I log in, it should be able to log in, right? So I am able to log in. I can see Harry Potter, everything is working fine. This is how basically you create a env file. Now suppose if you make any changes over here, right? Suppose if I make any changes in my backend code, right? I can just safely push the code and pull the code over here. My git ignore will be ignoring my env file on my local, and it will be ignoring my file on the production environment also. Okay. Now you would say, is this the safest method? So I would say, yes, this is a very, very safe method to use it, because see, your server cannot be accessed by anyone. Nobody can just log into your server, because nobody will have your secret.pem file that you have, right? So nobody can log into your server, and only if somebody can break through your server, that is when somebody can find your .env file, because it's there on your server, right? And if somebody logs into your server, that's a bigger problem than finding just the env file. Okay, it's a bigger problem to solve. So always keep your PEM files very safe. Okay, because PEM file is a direct access, right, to the server. So that is one of the safest thing you can do. And the safe thing is that whenever you are pushing the code to GitHub, make sure that nothing secret is being pushed on your GitHub. Right? So this GitHub, I have pushed my devtinder code. Now this is kind of like an open source project, isn't it? It's open source. Even you can come and contribute to my devtinder project. It's publicly live on github.com/akshaymar7/devtinder, right? This is a public URL. You can come to this project, right? A lot of people have marked star also. Please star this repository if you are here, right? Some people have forked also. See, 11 people have forked this repository. So you can just star it, and you can just keep using it. This is the public open source code, right? And it is very safe because my environment variables are not there. I can safely now sit back, relax. I don't have to worry much about my environment variable. These are very safe over here. Yes, you have seen this password. I have to change the password, right? That is what I have to do. I will do it right later on. But this is for the demonstration purposes, that how you can set your env files, how you can secure your secret variables, how you can deploy your application after having secret variables. And let me tell you, my dear friends, you can have a different environment variable files for your local, different for your staging environment, different for your production environment. All the environmental variables, see, all the other code will remain the same. Just the environment variables can be different according to where you have deployed your code. Sometimes in big companies, there is one environment for testing. So that testing environment does not have the production credential or database credential of prod. So there can be multiple types of environment variable files. There can be environment variable of development. There can be a production environment variable. There can be a staging environment variable. There can be a testing environment variable. You can create as many different environmental variable files in as many places you deploy your application. Okay, and you can keep different type of secret, different type of databases, connection string, because you always want to keep your testing database as different than your production database, right? Isn't it? You have to keep your testing database different, production database different. So that is why you can use this environment variable files to keep a separate database for your production, for your testing. Okay, so that's how you do it, my dear friends. And this is how you keep your variable safe. So the lesson that we have learned in this video is that always keep your environment variable safe. Use a .env package. It's a very lightweight, good package that everybody uses, right? Almost everyone uses in the industry. It's a very famous package. Now you can go through a lot of other extra things also, right? I have not covered 100% of .env in this, episode, in this lecture, but this is what you should know. That is why I was saying that, okay, please read the documentation. That will help you a lot in doing a lot of other things. See, over here, let me tell you, and this is a must read kind of a thing. Just give me a minute. Let me go to that place. where is the place where, yes, manage multiple environments. Do you see this? You have to read this and implement this on your own. This is your homework. Okay, this is your homework. You have to make a different environment variable for production, different environment variable for development. This is what you have to do. This is your homework, my dear friends. Okay, do you take that challenge? Yes. So now, run an environment local. Let me just quickly give you a little bit summary about it before you do it. So basically, see, just like you created your .env file, similarly, you can create a file .env.production. Okay, you can create a file .env.production, and then whenever you are you can run this .envx run environment file production, and then you can do node index.js. This is how you start your application. So once you do this, so the environment variable are set differently, right? Your environment variables will be fetched from this file. Okay, and you can also create a different environment variable .env.local for your local environment. So there is a small difference. Read about it, read some blogs. This is your homework. I want you to figure this out. Okay. And if you face any issues, right, you have the Discord channel. Go reach out to other community members and discuss with them, right? But this is your homework. This I will not tell, right? Because, I have been spoon feeding you in all the previous episodes. This is season 3. I'm going to make it a little tough for you as well. Okay. So that's all in this video, my dear friends. Thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, if you're liking Namaste Node.js, please give us a shout out on social media, on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, whatever you use. That's all I want to say. And thank you so much for watching the video. Your shout outs, your appreciations means a lot to me. A lot of people send me messages. A lot of students send me messages that they have got the job, they are liking the videos, and I love to read all those messages. Keep sending me messages and keep loving me, keep giving me shout out on social media. That means a lot to me. Every post matters. Please talk about Namaste Node.js, Namaste React, Namaste Front-End System Design to all your other fellow mates or your other friends and family. That would help us also grow. Thank you so much for watching the video. That's all in this video. See you in the next episode very soon. Bye-bye.